Hey guys, Jay Knowlton here once again, and I did it again. I accidentally took a long break. Well, it was all procrastination. I had kept planning to make videos, kept saying, I'm going to make a video today, and just kept putting it off and off and off. And here I am, I've just had a 7-day holiday. This is the last day of a 7-day holiday, and I'm finally making a video at 2 p.m. So, Jay Knowlton here once again, the most unprofessional YouTuber in the most unprofessional setup. I'm kind of looking like an American wife beater today. I don't know how that comes across on video. All my clothes are from Shimamura, so it's Shimamura's fault. I like to just kind of browse on Reddit to kind of see the problems that people are having, and hopefully in these kind of videos I can give my perspective, give some advice. Obviously not directly to the person because I don't know who they are and they're probably not going to see this video, but just using my experience in Japan to kind of shed some light on do's and don'ts when living in Japan. I've got my trusty iPad here. I am going to read off. I'm going to try and read it nice and quick but nice and clear so it doesn't take up too much time. The title of the Reddit post is Scuffle on the Train, so it's not going to be a good one. Hi, I had something happen on the train in Japan and I don't know what to do. Please be kind. I'm just looking for advice, not judgment. Now, if you put that on Reddit, all you're going to get is judgment. I was waiting for the train like I usually do. There was a woman standing kind of far back and in the middle, not clearly on the left or right side, so I just stood on the right side behind the yellow line, which is normal here. When the train arrived, she came and stood right next to me. I told her, the line starts back there, but she said something I couldn't understand. I think she was Chinese, but I'm not sure. I don't know if that's relevant or not. We both got on the train. That's when she suddenly pushed me, so I pushed her back. Then she grabbed my hair right there on the train and started yelling for help. Even though her hand was in my hair, I couldn't believe it. So I grabbed her hair back and it turned into a fight. We were grabbing and scratching each other. Eventually things calmed down and I was about to sit down. My headset had fallen off during the fight, and when I bent down to grab it, she kicked it. So I went up to her again, grabbed her face and told her to stop and get away from me. I ended up falling again and she still had her hand tangled in my hair while I was on the floor and telling her to stop. A man nearby stepped in and told her, damn it, stop, and told her to let go of my hair. She finally did. I used this station to get to work and now I don't know what to do. I haven't reported it, but I'm worried about my self-defense would get me into trouble, especially since it happened inside the train. Should I report this now to protect myself, or just avoid that station and hope nothing comes from it? Please be kind. I know it's escalated fast, and I really didn't expect to be attacked like that for saying something about the line. Thanks for reading and for any help or advice. So, it sounds like two ladies have got into a scuffle on a train. By the judge of things, both of them seem foreign, which is not great news because that immediately is going to it's going to ask not judgment from Reddit, but judgment for the Japanese people around you. And even though Japanese people do get into scuffles on trains, when they see two foreign people scuffling on a train, they're just going to think, oh my God, the foreigners, they're crazy. So we have to really be careful about that. Now, the advice which I think a lot of people are expecting is, good on you for telling her to get to the back of the line. And I do not believe that is good. I don't think she should have said get to the back of the line. Now, I run a preschool, kids 1 to 6 years old. And there are some kids who have a higher sense of justice than others. So if they notice kids doing something wrong, they will tell them to stop or they will get annoyed. And that usually turns into a fight. And we tell the kids, I know you didn't like what they did. They were doing the wrong thing, but please tell the teacher. Now, of course, in this case, you're not going to run up to the train staff and say, she's cutting in line, she's cutting in line. But unfortunately, you cannot take justice into your own hands for a number of reasons. Now, saying something like the line starts over there seems quite simple. It doesn't seem that offensive. However, you never know the type of person who's around you. There are people who could attack you on the spot, which it seems like has happened here. There are people who might get angry and start following you around or start filming you. You don't know what type of person you are going to come across. And that sounds quite sad because it kind of takes away our sense of being able to implement, not necessarily justice in this case, but we should be able to say, excuse me, can you go line up with everybody else? But if that person has intentionally cut the line, you telling them to line up probably isn't going to fix that situation because they've consciously cut in the line. They probably don't care about the fact that there's a line. It could be possible there was a misunderstanding. A lot of train stations, people are expected to line up in two lines, and quite often people just make one big line. So I've seen people, even Japanese people, just be like, F it, I'm going to go line up at the front, make two lines like we're supposed to be in. That could have happened. We don't know what happened exactly here. So you don't know what kind of person you're going to come across. The second reason why I think she definitely shouldn't have said anything is because one key point that she mentioned is, I use this station to get to work. And now this is the big problem, is because she uses this station every day, assumedly every day, probably at the same time. Therefore, if this person that she's got into conflict with has also been using this station to go to work and uses it regularly, the opportunity for you two to come across each other again is quite high. Whether you like it or not, if it's something that can affect you in the future, you should really try to avoid. If there's something you don't like in front of your home, don't go out and confront them, because now that person knows where you live and knows exactly, if you walk out of your house and confront them, there's like, oh, my house is right here in case you want to set fire to it in the future. Or if you're in your car and start screaming at someone, your license plate number's there, your car brand is there, you don't know what could happen. If you're doing it at a train station which you used to get to work, you and the people around you are regularly going to be using that train. Therefore, you're going to be confronted with the people. You're not necessarily talking to them, but they're going to know that it was you and they're going to see you every single day. So no matter what happens, there are times where you really have to be careful about what you say, when you say it, and what could possibly happen in the future. If you were on some random trip somewhere, go ahead, maybe tell them to, F off and line up. But if it's a station that you're going to use to get to work, because what happens if this woman decided, oh, I'm going to follow her and find out where she works? She could easily just tell you to where your workplace is, and you don't want that. You don't want to bring problems to where you work. So you have to be really conscious, as much as it sucks that sometimes you have to hold your tongue and let something happen that you really don't like happening. But of course, at the end of the day, is getting into a fight, a physical confrontation inside a public train, worth you telling them to line up? It's a bit silly. Now, the final point is that she mentions self-defense. Now, it depends on what your definition of self-defense is. She mentions that the woman grabbed her hair and she grabbed the woman's hair back. Okay, fair enough, that might be self-defense. But she mentions later on that when her headset gets kicked, so she grabbed her face, that kind of takes away your self-defense privilege. Now, if someone grabs me, I'm just going to be like, I'm not going to touch you. I could break you in half. I could end you right here. But it's not worth it. It's not worth me getting into even more trouble. It's not worth getting more complicated. If you're going to take a couple of shots, take your shots. There's cameras on the train. Let's just get this over with. Now, the last thing is, she said a person came and said, "Dame." It's not necessarily what a person would say if somebody's pulling your hair. They wouldn't just run up and go, "Dame, dame." They'd probably say something like "Yamete kudasai" or something like that. They wouldn't just walk up and say "Dame." It's a bit silly. So with these Reddit posts, it's sometimes quite difficult to know what's true and what's not true. But I think the biggest takeaway here is, if somebody attacks your kid or somebody steals your phone out of your hand, okay, maybe you have to physically fix that situation as best as you can. But if somebody cuts in line, or if somebody rushes to the front when you're trying to line up, it sounds bad because it's the start of anarchy, but you're just gonna have to let it go a little bit. You telling them is not gonna make it better. and you're breaking that seal of, okay, I can tell people anything if I don't like it and I don't think they're following the rules. You don't know what that kind of person is like. They could be disabled, they could be having trouble, they could be a bad person. You don't know. You don't know what their situation is. So just be like, okay, it sucks that they cut the line, but today is going to be a good day. And that's basically my advice for this situation. First of all, don't get into fights. And, you know, don't grab somebody's hair and then start screaming for help, because you made the conscious effort to push back. After she pushed you, that should have been like, oh God, I'm going to move to a different part of the train. This woman is insane. Don't push them back, because what do you think is going to happen? Once you push back, it's all about your pride. It's nothing about the situation. It's not about them cutting in line anymore. You don't want to look like you've been pushed. So if somebody pushes you, just be like, oh, I should move to a different carriage. Get myself out of this situation. Nothing is worth what has happened here. So that's my advice. If you got any ideas or anything to add, please leave a comment down below. Please tell me what you think about my drip. Only cost 1,200 yen. 200 yen. Woo! And thanks all for watching, guys. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.